Hey everybody, here today with a little, I don't really necessarily know if it's a collaboration or what, but I was tagged by my friend Laura at Half-Assed Crafter for this hashtag My Journal Journey. I think this whole thing is hosted by Bookworms Buddy, I think is what I saw. But anyways, Laura at Half-Assed Crafter tagged me. She's got a little bit more information on her video. The hashtag is My Journal Journey. And basically, she sent me a good handful of questions. And the idea is to sit down and kind of do a craft while answering these questions. So I'm just going to jump right into it. And I'm working in my glue book. I've got, my backgrounds are all done. It's completely full of backgrounds. And I love it just as it is. But I've got some little bits and pieces, cut out, that I'm gonna incorporate into this journal somehow. So I thought I would work on that, just piecing together some stuff in my glue book while I answer these questions. So, if I can get my words straight. So, hashtag My Journal Journey. The first question is, when did you start making journals? Show the first one if you still have it. So I really started making journals, really got into it, the end of 2022, so a little over a year now. I will say that's when I officially got into making journals. I made my first book, explored bookmaking and all that back in 2016, 2017, maybe even 2018. I was looking to see if I had one of them handy, because they're in my junk bin. Oh, that's an atrocious. I played around back in 2016, 2018. I played around with making books and altering books. Don't have any that I made in here handy from way back when. No, but I do have one that I played around in, I altered in. It is a paperback. It's an old vintage paperback book. And I did a lot of gesso throughout it and stamping. And I've got a story that these are pieces of the story that I was working on adding to the pages. Just because I thought this little book was kind of cool. But so I played around with that altered book a little bit back then, but that was the first time I actually made a book, and I just put papers together, and I was really very speedy with it. I didn't take the time to really think it through. Ooh, that's a big image. And so the few that I made were kind of half-assed thrown together, I guess. And I did at my shop, I did a little workshop. I've got a box of goodies over here that I'm just kind of playing with, and that's going to be the biggest issue, is kind of trying to find some images that I want to work with. Anyway, so back in 2016, 2018, I made a couple of books, but wasn't too terribly pleased with them. And so I just kind of was like, hey, this ain't for me. And I gave it up. You'll just have to bear with me as I find my groove here. I wasn't too pleased with the books that I made. And so I just kind of was like, yeah, that's not for me. And kind of gave up on it. And then in the middle of 2022, end of 2022, I thought, you know, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to make something and I'm just going to see how it works. And I made a journal and fell in love with it. And the rest is history, as they say. So when did you start making journals? Officially making journals, I would say the end of 2022. So yeah, the first one that I made was an Asian themed one, and I don't have it. I sold it at a market that I was at. So I don't have it anymore. But that was the first one, was an Asian themed one. And it was, I mean, it was fun, but I really didn't know what I was doing, and so I just threw everything in it, if that makes any sense. And so it was very full and very not my best work. Of course, the first one never is, right? I'm kind of liking that. I'm not sure I know if I like that, but so yeah, first one, I don't have it, so I can't show it to you, but it was Asian themed. It was made out of an old book, and I just gutted the old book and used the old book as my spine and cover and all that, and I just kind of decorated it from there. Had a lot of Asian themed paper, and now looking back, it's like, I don't know if it was Korean or Japanese or Chinese or what. It was probably just a mix. So I think moving forward, if and when I do another Asian themed one, I will be very aware of not mixing the cultures, I don't think. I guess I'm very shy to, not very shy, I'm very aware of the cultural differences, and so I don't want to offend with any cultural missteps. There's such a glare on these magazine pages. So yeah, that's the answer to question number 1. Question number 2 is, did someone inspire you to start making journals? If so, who? I will say this. Yes. I came across a video summer of 2022, and it was by Lauren at Shabby Chick Sunday, Sundae. She has a YouTube channel. I don't know how active she is on it, but she did a journal. It's called Aggie's Scrapbook. It was like a green witch, garden witch kind of themed journal, and Aggie's Scrapbook was the name of it, and it was a journal, like a witch's scrapbook of her time at school. And so it had the most fabulous stuff in it. It was just kind of broken down like a yearbook almost, like a scrapbook of her year at school. And it had like the information about, she took a class on potions and she took a class on broom making, and it was so very well put together, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I just fell in love with it, and I cannot find it on YouTube anymore. I messaged her about 5 or 6 months ago, and I was like, are you the one that did this scrapbook? And if so, I need to see it again. I need to see it. And she messaged me back and said, oh yeah, she said, let me send it to you, because for whatever reason it's not on YouTube anymore. I don't know why. She's got several of her other journals posted, but that one is not, unfortunately. But I just absolutely fell in love with that book and was like, I've totally got to do this. Not, that per se, but just journal making as a whole. I've got to do this as far as I've got to create that kind of stuff. I've got to do it. So that is who inspired me, and that journal was just like top notch. It was a storyline journal, telling a story about Aggie going to school, to witch's school, and yeah, it was just it was just so perfect. And she had some old vintage photos that she kind of used as like, this is Aggie's teacher, and this is, and it was just such a perfect little journal. So that was my tipping point. Next question is, what is your journal style? Ooh, that's a really good question. As far as my journals, I mean, I do storybook journals, and I do regular journals, junk journals, and I do journals from kits, not so much. But so my journal style is, I would like to say I tend to use more stuff, like recycled, like scraps and things like that, versus the printable kits. I just like to use the stuff that I have laying around, because you can find a lot of different stuff. So that, I would say, is my style. I like to do the true junk. I like to do the collage. I like to create, my own ephemera kind of stuff, versus using printables and all that. So that would be my style, I guess. Next question is, do you use a theme to get started on a journal? Yes. I would love to. So Cindy over at Studio Lou does these commonplace journals, and they don't really have a theme per se. And I would love to do that. I just can't. For whatever reason, I can't. I have to have a theme, and everything has to go, and everything has to match, and everything has to make sense. And I can't put a flower next to a steampunk thing. I just can't. It has to go, and it has to make sense. And yeah. So I have to have a theme. I have to have a theme. I don't know why. Do you use a theme? Yes. And so when I get a custom order, I love when they say, oh, I want a dog journal, or, oh, I want a, Taylor Swift themed journal, or whatever. And I can jump right into that theme and have creative freedom to just do whatever. I love that. But I do have a list 1.5 miles long of themes that I want to do. And I have all sorts of a stash of stuff that, that I'll eventually get around to making those journals. So yeah, have to have a theme. I just can't go willy-nilly. Commonplace. I have to have a theme. This lady is looking rather dapper in front of her house. She's out picking flowers and getting ready for her dinner. How about that? So next question. How long does it take to make a journal? That is a question that I really can't answer. It just really depends. You can spend forever on the dang journal. for sure. But how long does it take? I usually, like if somebody wants a custom order or whatever, I usually say you're going to have to give me about a week or so. Because I just like to allow myself a good week, a good weekend. If I have all the stuff, I can jump right into it and just, you know, get right to it. And I can tackle it like in a weekend if I have all the stuff. Does she have a butterfly flying around? So, how long does it take? It just kind of depends. Just kind of depends on the theme and if I have all my stuff and how much is involved with it, really. Just really kind of depends, so. She's going to be happiness. Next question. What is first thing you do when starting a journal? First thing I do is decide on which book I'm going to use. You know, I may not complete the cover or whatever, but I'm going to decide on which book, which size I'm going to use. So that way I know how to cut my papers and all that good stuff. So, so yeah, that's what I do first, is decide on my book. What book I'm going to use. I might not, you know, like I said, I might not chop it up and get it all straight and situated and clean. But, I'm going to know what book I'm using. And then from there, I always, I don't do well with doing two things at once. I decide on my book, and then I decide on, and then I cut my papers down. So, like, for instance, just to be kind of handy right here, this is a journal I'm working on. I decided on my book and decided on how thick I needed it. And so I didn't really, I mean, I did put together my cover just because I was working on these. And then I cut down my pages. And so my book is here. I've decided on what size. I've decided on, so this is going to give me my size for ephemera making and all that. I've started this a little bit, but I get all my papers cut down and my signatures decided and all that. And then from there, I decorate and go from there. So that's the first thing I do, is decide on a book size, gather papers, and then create ephemera. Next question. What style cover do you prefer to make or use? Cloth, hardboard, hardboard? Is that a word? Ooh, I like her there. Soft, etc. I prefer a hardback. Now, I may cover it in fabric or cover it in paper or whatever, but I prefer to use a hardback. I've done a few soft journals. I've done a few just fabric journals, and I really prefer the hardbacks. So, let's see here. Scoot you over. Scoot. Next question is, if you make soft cover journals, what do you use? If I do a soft cover journal, I use like a Amazon packaging, and I cover it with fabric kind of thing. I had an image that I thought I wanted to use. It would be perfect for her. Figure out where it's at now. So, yeah, if I do a soft cover, I do like fabric over fabric over some Amazon packaging. I just had an image that I was looking at, trying to decide how I could work that into a page. And I think very seriously it would work really well into this page, but I can't find her now. She was a lady. Where are you, lady? Next question. Do you use ephemera you get in a kit, or do you prefer to make my own? I prefer to make my own. I do a little bit of kit stuff off of Etsy every once in a while. Not a lot. The journals that I'm working on right now, I am using a kit. It's not a kit. It's not an Etsy kit. It's a scrapbook kit. So it's got the pages and the stickers and the all that with it. She's who I wanted to use, but there's really not room for her. I mean, I guess I could cut her off and put her down here. But I don't really want to do that. So I don't use a lot of kits. I prefer to make my own ephemera and use my own scraps and, excuse me, things like that. I do use a lot of scrapbook paper that is that goes along with my themes and all that, but I think I actually kind of like that. But I don't do a lot of kits. Next question, do you enjoy participating in prompt-inspired projects? I do enjoy that. But I will say I'm a little particular about which ones I participate in. I will say that Cindy, my friend Cindy and Mary Ellen, and I just finished up I guess it was a prompt. It's not really prompt inspired, but I mean, I guess it is because we were prompted by the pieces that we got. So yeah, we just finished up a prompt per se inspired challenge. The round robin, junk journal round robin for the month of April. And that was absolutely bananas fun. I like doing the prompt ones, but I'm a little particular about them. I'm not going to stress myself out about them, and I'm not going to go out and buy a bunch of stuff just for that challenge. If I have it, and if it's something I have time to do, and it sounds interesting and all that, then I'll jump on the bandwagon and do it. But so yeah, I mean, I like them. I just am a little particular about them. So we're just going to fold that over. So next question, how many journals have you made so far? That is an interesting question that I had to do a little research on that. And I don't know. I have an empty glue stick. I have, all my journals are documented as which ones I've done and all that. And I document, what I do with them, if I gave them away, or if I, sold them on Etsy, or sold them at a market or whatever. But I'm going to say the number is around 85 in the little over, I guess it's been about a year and a half now that I've been working on journals. I'm going to say about 85. Some of those are big, storybook, pretty intense journals. Some of them are little bitty, One Signature Simple Journals. But I'm going to say about 85 or so. Yeah. And for whatever reason, I don't know how I feel about that number. There was a part of me that thought there was more, but when you think about it, 85 journals in a year and a half is a lot of journals. A lot of journals. That's quite a bit, considering I still feel I'm very new to this, so. Next question, I think this is the last question. Yeah, it's the last question. What do you enjoy the most about making journals? I just glued that on the other side. First off, I love the creative freedom that comes along with it. I love to put the glue on the other side here. I love to get a custom order and the customer just say, take your theme, take this theme and run with it. Whatever you come up with, I'm sure I'll love it. And I love having that creative freedom to literally just run with it and create what I can create and see what happens, kind of thing. I just love that. I love storybook journals. They are a challenge within themselves. I challenge anybody who is did you have a little crayon there? I challenge anybody who is journal making to tackle a storybook journal. The best option is going to be a children's book, obviously, but to tackle the storybook journal, yeah, I think that it's a challenge, but it's so much fun, and it's a lot of fun. So that's what I enjoy most. What I enjoy most is the creative freedom to just kind of create and do what you want to do. And, if you want to make ephemera, or if you want to cut, or if you want to collage, or if you want to make little things to go in pockets, or if you want to, make little tags or whatever. I love the creative freedom that comes with that is pretty much where I'm going with that. So that's the last of the questions. I got a little sidetracked in my thought processing with this lady and her stack of flowers. That's the last question of this My Journal Journey hashtag. I'm going to tag my friend Cindy over at Studio Lou. And, yeah, I appreciate Laura over at Half-Ass Crafter tagging me on it. Let me think if there's any questions that weren't on there that I could add some information bonus for you guys. Let me see where I'm at on time. Oh, I got a few more minutes. So, yeah, so I'm going to tag Cindy over at Studio Lou. And again, appreciate Laura for tagging me on this. And be sure and check out both of them. Laura tagged a couple of people. She tagged me and a couple of other people. So, or one or two other people. But, so check her out for sure. Is there a place for this lady? Is she meditating in the pasta? Is she meditating on a stack of books? Or she could be meditating under the tree. I kind of like that. I hate that there's such a glare, but there's a rock right here. So she's going to sit on the rock and meditate. What else about my journaling journey? I have done several different shows, like market shows last year. I did 3 or 4 of them. And those fare very well, although journals are not a impulse buy, or they're not a, what am I thinking? They are not a, they don't appeal to everybody. How's that? They are not for everybody. Just kind of in a moment, just flip it through, seeing if anything speaks to me. Can put him there. He's kind of cute there. Yeah, they're not for everybody. So, and I will say this, people who don't do crafts or arts or anything like that don't quite understand the amount of talent and love and supplies that go into creating a journal or to creating any kind of craft, really. And so they don't, you know, there's no way that you could ever, when it comes to art, there's no way you could ever pay somebody what it's worth when you factor in the time and the supplies and the talent and all that. There's no way. It's just near impossible to pay somebody what their art is worth. Just not happening. I kind of like this here. So that's, you run into that with markets. They're kind of like, you want this much for this little book here? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. People just don't understand. So this year I'm not doing any markets. Those of you who are hanging around and have been following my channel for a little bit know I'm going through a little bit of health, some treatments, and so we are limited on what we are doing this year. Oh, where did my girl go? That's under the tree meditating. Where are you, dear? There you are. Are you sitting pretty? So, I don't know of any other questions, any other things to share about my journey. Yeah, I mean, I said I like doing the storybook journals, and I really want to be able to do a hodgepodge journal. What is it called? Commonplace journal. I just can't wrap my brain around doing that for whatever reason. One of these days I will, though. Commonplace journal. I'll use up all the scraps I got floating around here. All the ephemera I've been making over these different different challenges that I've done and all that. I really like this page. Then you're probably thinking, why are you going to add a spoon to it, Shell? If you really like it, why would you add more to it? You know, you never know. You never know. You never know what... Oh, this would be kind of cool. Where's my... Where's my lady with the... This could just be a dark page. Snake and evil. I don't know that I have too many more. I have this little guy. He's a little out there. I like that with the dog. That's cute.